What's going on? It's your boy Dame Smiff, and this evening we're gonna break down in our concerts without sound, Joe, the great R&B artist Joe, at his stage in Prospect Park, Brooklyn, New York show. And this was, I believe, about a year ago from the filming of this video right now. But this was actually a pretty interesting performance. I just kind of skimmed through it, but I'm gonna be reacting to it in real time. And essentially, we're going to break down what I notice as a musician as far as how the stage is set up, maybe his stage presence, what he's wearing, maybe his equipment, the mic he's using, the instrumentalists, what they're doing in the background, what the crowd's doing, whatever cool stuff I can, glean from the situation. And this will be helpful for a lot of younger artists, especially newer artists, to really understand what's going on stage. So if you ever have like stage anxiety, or if you have dreams of getting on the big stage, what are some of the things you should be looking out for? What are the things you should be paying attention to? And if you like content like this, make sure you hit the like button, and that lets me know what content really bangs to you guys, and it lets others know what content I have. And also hit the subscribe button so you can be able to see my latest uploads. So let's get into it and let's pull up the concert here. So we have a quick YouTube video, and I just kind of want to get it started so we can actually see the stage. And I want you to imagine being Joe throughout this video. That's one thing I want you to imagine, because when we do watch a lot of concerts and attend venues and things like that, it's for us, it's for the audience. It's literally meant to serve you. It's a luxurious experience for you to experience the music someone created in their head, put lights and people to it, and then projected it out to you in perfection, right? But now I want you to reverse the mindset and place yourself in the shoes of the person that has to commit that, who has to deliver the perfect idea or the perfect product, depending on how you would like to look at this, to an audience for their consumption. Okay. I want you to think of it that way. So let's just get a peek at what the stage looks like. Okay. So this is 2023, 2 years before this video was filmed. Okay, so the first thing I notice is that it's generally one color, maybe two if we can get closer. It depends on the camera. But the only reason that really stands out to me is because I've recently started learning a little bit about lighting and in videos and things like that. Even in this video, you're seeing me and I have two different lights, but there's there's a bit of light theory, color theory that needs to happen. Now, I don't know what level they're about to do. I've never done this level of work to be, really criticizing it, but I'm just noticing that it's one color immediately. And let me know in the comments if this color, because you can even see it on other people's phones in the video, do you think this color really shines what you think you're trying to project when you're making your stage? Remember, you're putting yourself in the shoes of Joe. As an audience member, this color probably hits. It probably, like, when you're there, that blue probably like makes you feel a certain way. But let me know. And so the next thing I do notice when I'm looking around is that the crowd is actually, I want to say, standing, and they're pretty close. So it looks like they're not in like a theater or anything like that. So I expect dancing, moving around, walking, um, security walking through, look, depending on like how extensive the venue may, make their security. But I do see that people are standing, they have their phones out. Now, there was a thing where people hated phones. Y'all kind of gave that up. And I understand why you hate phones going to concerts and things like that, because it kind of waters down the experience for people who didn't attend it, who then now have to kind of, it's kind of like a comedy show. Like, once you hear a joke, it don't really hit twice unless it's that good of a joke. So what the phones honestly have done is it made us have to create a new and fresh experience for each show, for each stage, which I think is cool. It's just difficult, it's something that we just have to adjust to. But all the phones, in combination with the fact that these people are in what I would say a dance floor, that makes me kind of wonder how I would approach this show. And so what I mean by that is, typically when people think of a performance, especially for instrumentalists, meaning people who play a piano, a saxophone, or drum set, right? and sometimes even singers, we think of a performance as like I get on stage, I press play, my backing track goes, we hit record, and we're done, right? And the audience is supposed to either clap or boo at the end. There is an extra layer to that that many entertainers don't really tap into unless you get into, let's say, public speaking, hospitality work, even outside of music. If you've ever been a waiter, you kind of know what I'm getting at here, but there's a bit of like, you know, rapport you have to build with your audience to get them or nudge them into an emotion you want them to feel. So it can be like Beyonce does it really well, where you would change how a song may sound, and that sound may kind of evoke an emotion or a feeling that then makes the actual song performance that much better or elevated, right? And so that's one way you can approach your shows, or you can just stick to the standard, hey, here's our set list, we're about to run down and then see how we feel. But that would make me kind of question which approach we should do based on this venue alone. Like, do I want you guys dancing, or is this a performance where no, we can really just sit here and like really get our musician shit off? Like, they're going to record us doing some really immaculate technical work on our, instruments and really shine. Or should we party right now? Like, put your phones up and party. I don't know. So that's the first thing I noticed is the color, the phones, and how these people are positioned as an audience. And so it looks like the drummer is kind of giving us a cymbal roll. They might be just dropping down into like maybe an intro. And so I think another thing I noticed, especially with bands that are at this level, there is no tuning when the audience is there. Like all that, like getting your instrument ready and stuff, like there's none of that. You click the sticks and the show starts. So if you are in a band or a group, or, even if outside of music, like if you're having a show or podcast or performance, you want to be show ready by the time the audience's eyes land on you. And I mean that in all aspects. Like I've had a show that I visited hosted by Snarky Puppy, and this is a jazz group up in Washington, D.C. And I noticed that their band leader was actually amongst the venue, like still just, doing business and stuff, talking to people, getting stuff in order, meeting fans. But he was still show ready. Like you can tell he was paying attention. He didn't look, there was no like casual clothing, like, oh, I'm not on stage clothing or warm up suit like you would see a basketball player. It was like, no, like literally the guy right there. It's like seeing your teacher outside of school. It's like, oh shit, like there they go. It's really them. So, okay, cool. Big Rich Town. So they start off with a banger. I think this is really smart, especially with a song that's as viral and as popular as that one there. You can see immediately when they started playing it, the crowd went crazy. Even if they were just singing along, you can tell that it was like, all right, boom, here we go. And again, that lead up that the drummer and band may have been doing beforehand may have been a big, perfect lead up to it. Okay, so they're doing a mix, a compilation. And there's the second light. Okay, I wish they opened up with this light. You see how much brighter and beautiful this looks? I don't know how it works. I'm not a light technician, but I would have opened up like this. Like this looks tight. These lights are a lot better. I mean, I would find a way to where we can kind of like cover this up, maybe have some darkness behind this, but this is a lot better. They look like rock stars now. The blue, it set a mood, but it was such a contrast to this. I think we should have started here and then maybe went down to the blue. Yeah, we should have started there and went down to the blue. Yeah, because now we're bringing the backlight and Joe comes out on stage. So this is the part where they're going to basically fill the room with light. You're going to be able to see everything. That way all your cameras and everybody can see Joe. Joe is going to shine, right? He's the superstar. Look at him rocking. And another thing too, we talked about this with Tech 9. And I think, we didn't talk about it with Boldy, but we did talk about it with Tech 9. If you pay attention to his outfit, it's almost designed for the performance. It's almost like tailored to the fact that he's going to be performing today. So I first noticed this with J. Cole when I went to the Forest Hill Drive show in Maryland, up in Baltimore. And this was at the Pavilion. And he had basically a white tee, gym shorts, and sneakers on. And in my mind, I was like, why no flashy stuff? And then he started like going crazy on stage. And I was like, okay, That makes complete sense. That makes total sense. But that's the first thing I noticed when Joe came out. It was high energy. Um, his outfit is not super layered, which is good, which it adds a lot of breathing room. It'd be like if I went out on stage with this little black tank top or something like that. Like I can, have a lot of movement and things like that. And it looks like it's fitting to where the outfit is not constricting. Like you'll see rock stars wearing tight pants or things like that, or you'll see rappers wearing baggy pants like that, and they can't really move around the stage because the clothing is restricting. Sometimes you'll see women in tight dresses and maybe clothes that they can't move without being a little bit provocative and things like that. So you want to think about these things when you're going on stage, because right now I haven't even paused because we don't need to. Like it's already going really well and we haven't heard a note, but he's singing stutter still, right? And I haven't paused because I want you to see how much of the energy he's evoking in like the first 45 seconds of being out here, right? A lot of you would have been winded, right? Imagine doing a sprint for 45 seconds and then at the last 10 seconds they go, all right, so the next song is going to be 3 minutes long. You ready? All right, keep sprinting. That's kind of the energy of a performance that Joe is giving right now. And so when we're talking about just something as simple as an outfit, I don't think people put that together. I think they're going to think like, oh, I'm going to just look, the craziest or the cutest, but it doesn't help you deliver what we're really here for, which is their musical talent. So now he's able to just kind of be himself and party and just, groove and chill out. And it feels a lot more comfortable. It makes it stress free. You're not really trying to direct people, and the latest few concerts haven't had any like background dancers, so he's really is just on stage with his band just rocking out. And this should honestly feel like a rehearsal to them. This should just be really comfortable for them. They're just up there just running through things, making a few changes here and there, but this should be very, very simple. So I'd like to keep riffing on the lights, but I'm gonna make it short. They're doing the two lights things again, and I love it. I just wish again we started off with the really, 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 really bright white lights, and then just kind of went down into a vibe, and then came back and brought Joe out. I think that would have been a lot cooler in my opinion, because the blue just felt like a vibe. Really, it didn't really feel like it was gonna do much as far as making me see things better or anything like that. So, but let's keep going. I want to scoot back a little bit before the color changes. Okay, there we go. I think that was the thumbnail. Okay, so they're about to end Ride With You and then go through. We're not going to go through the whole concert, but we do have some different changes on the stage that we will get to that are honestly going to make a big difference in how you move. So this is something that I've seen Tech Nine do really well. And I'm only pointing out specifically Tech Nine because this example that we're looking at right now may be venue specific. Like this specific venue may have a camera that is going to stream to this giant TV here for the audience. But I first noticed it, meaning like it first kind of like stuck in my mind when I saw Tech Nine using it. And it was when Tech Nine was on stage and he had two screens next to him and they were in sync to the music, and they were basically doing emceeing and movements for the crowd alongside him. So it was like having background dancers made of AI or, pre-recorded background dancers. But what made it so cool was that it basically kind of felt like there were 4 or 5 versions of him on stage all doing the same thing at once. And it made it it was trippy. Like it was very, very trippy. So something like that is like the next level up from what we're looking at here. So right here, this is just simply another angle for maybe people who are too far back. They have right here somebody who is doing ASL, American Sign Language, for people who may be hard of hearing or completely deaf and things like that. And so this right here is more of an accessibility example, which would really, really help your band and your group target more people in the audience, especially if you have lyric heavy music or lyric focused music. A lot of people can really relate to just lyrics alone. So having, just a woman signing at the bottom could catch somebody, catch somebody's eye just off of the strength of understanding what's happening. And it's very helpful just in general. People be at the shows and they don't want to pull their phone out, but they're still not close enough to see you. They can still make the experience a lot better. before I let go, I wonder if this is just a cover or if he has a song name before I let go. But we notice another color change. But before we get back into all the equipment and stuff, I want to focus on Joe. I want to kind of pay attention to how he's moving around the stage. These are things I've seen before. These are things I've studied before as far as other singers and things like that. But I'm not sure if there's like kind of a hand tailored recipe for each artist. I'm not that versed in it, but if you pay attention, he's moving around the stage to make sure everybody's involved in the experience, you know. Like you go to the left, say what's up to the ladies, go to the right, say what's up to the ladies, come back to the center, say what's up to the fellas, and then we get back to rocking, but it's really to keep your attention engaged. Now, this is what I mean by like I don't know if it's hand tailored. I don't know if he's thinking about that, you know? Like I don't know if this dance right here is something he had to think about. I think he's just rocking out and just having fun, and that's just how it works. But this is again something to learn from because it's kind of like watching LeBron James do a layup. Like you just watched LeBron James do a layup and you just thought LeBron James did a layup. But when you see LeBron James do a layup and he never misses, and it's like, okay, something is happening here. There's something going on that we need to really focus on and think about. So that's one of the things that I like to pay attention to when I see artists. And Joe is a good example of this because anytime I've ever seen a performance clip of Joe live, it was like this. It was like he just gets on stage, fucking blows people's heads off, and then walks away. He just destroys the world and just walks off, and then just we got to sit there and just ask for more. So let's keep going. So now let's get back into the equipment. Again, he's a great performer, so it's captivating. That's why it's so strange to just see one man and a band just sit there and rock out, and we're not even listening to any music, and it still looks amazing. So we're gonna try to take the focus off of Joe for a second and really look at what's going on here as far as what we see. This kind of makes me think of Arsenio Hall. I don't know why, just thought of him. But if we pay attention to the stage, I think he might be security or a really, really weird audience member that turns his back to the stage, but he may be security. We have monitors here, which are going to help Joe as well as the band hear themselves. So that way all the music that they're making, you know, is happening in real time. Because if you don't ever play on stage, like if you've never played on a stage with monitors, and a lot of musicians haven't actually, but if you've never played with monitors, what can happen is if you don't have headphones, you're going to be waiting for audio or sound to basically leave you and then come back and then hit your eardrums. And in a venue like this, there was a whole bunch of engineering and science. That's why the music industry and technology industry are like the perfect marriage. But there was a lot of science that went into figuring out how the hell can these musicians be able to play to all these people and make it sound really good, but still hear themselves and not get off track by how late the sound is going to hit their eardrums. So to give you kind of a real example, if you've played in marching band, right? You have one band on this side of the field, and then you have another band on the opposite side of the field. If one band blasts a C note really loudly and then just stops playing for a second, you'll hear the sound fly across, hit the other band, and bounce back. And it'll feel a little late if you pay attention to it. Now, if you have each instrumentalist in the band play a note at each beat, let's say for 4 beats a measure, just ba 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 ba. If they keep going, eventually it's just going to sound like a blur of noise because the sounds are just hitting each other so late. Okay, sound moves similar to like most physical objects. We just can't see it, and it bounces off of things. It hits angles. It changes to the angles. It changes direction because of the angles. There's certain temperatures. It's crazy, right? And so these monitors help these musicians use all of the information that their sounds are making in real time. So without these things, it would probably sound like a jumbled mess unless you were like right up on them. So these are very helpful. And so now they have to basically connect all of these instruments to what may be behind the stage or things like that, to a mixing board. And that's going to send out all of this music to speakers and things like that all around the venue and things like that. So the venue has speakers playing music. bouncing around all over the place, which is going to sound crazy and late to the audience. So now you have to figure out how all the speakers are going to line up to sound good in the area too. So there's a lot of science that goes into making Joe sound really, really good right now. And so the next thing I noticed here, ooh, right here, we have a very, very nice camera and cameraman. They're basically, I believe this looks like something for the venue, but this is a good opportunity to have at any venue. If you can find bookings at venues that have an in-house videography crew, that is awesome, because not only can you clearly, make content from your music and things like that, but it keeps a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? A bit of a history, for the venue. You kind of stamp yourself historically. You ever walked into like a pizza shop and seen like a picture of a really, really cool entertainer or really old, celebrity or something like that? That's kind of what this does. Now, why is this important? It's because this makes Joe look cooler. Because if Joe was just standing there and looking all, boring, or his outfit was whack, or he was out of key, this would show it, and it would make, it would multiply how bad it was. So again, if you think of it in the opposite direction, if Joe does really, really well, and if the band sounds really, really good, this camera is going to make it a lot better. Now, the last thing about this is you can also try to find situations and deals and conversations where you can own some of this footage, if not all of it. Maybe this is your cameraman, because down here we have somebody's cell phone, but all these people with cell phones, they own their footage. You got to ask them for permission to post that on your page. But this, they don't have this footage. This right here is exclusive. This is the good stuff right here. That's the first thing I noticed. So now I'm looking more so at the band, and it looks like the keyboard player has monitors in his ear. I've noticed as a keyboard player, it's good to have in-ear monitors, and I'll explain the difference. So out of ear monitors are these speakers here, right? Joe can use that. Joe can sing and he can be fine. And Joe might even be using in-ear monitors. And basically the only difference is just you can hear more frequencies and sound more clear. That's all. So for example, keyboard players, they have a lot of lower frequencies that if you were to play in speakers, don't really hit your ear as loudly. So there's a lot of slight changes that he may need to make, especially if he's using synthesized sounds. And then for Joe, there may be like intonation things that he may need to hear that you can't really hear just from the cartilage in your ears. You may need some direct, frequencies coming into your ear from the headphones. And me noticing that just kind of it just solidifies kind of what I was saying about the monitors. It seems like they're really, really, really focusing on getting a nice sound. And that's key, because they can play as good as they want. They can hit all the right notes, be on beat and all that stuff. But if the equipment doesn't push through a really good sound, and if they don't hear that they're putting through a good sound and being able to maintain that through the show, there's going to be a lot of issues coming down the pipe. And so it looks like they have one keyboardist. This guy looks like he's playing guitar, keys, and background singer. They got a guitar player here. He's got multiple guitars. And then we got a 4-stack keyboardist back here, and then a drummer and no percussionist. Was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people plus Joe? Yeah, that's what it looks like so far. And I think that's honestly for the size of this show and the venue that they're doing, that's amazing. 5 people killing this right now. Now, mind you, these 5 people are probably doing the work of 11, because I can't hear it. I haven't watched this with sound, so I'm just gonna guess. He's playing probably like auxiliary sounds and effects and things like that, probably harmonies with Joe. He's probably doing the same thing, but with like another layer or just a different part of the song, as well as he's holding a guitar in his hand, as well as singing background with his mic. So that's the job of 3 people in this one man right here. And then we have a guitar player over here who looks like he also has an acoustic next to him. He's probably playing, it looks like he's playing electric. So, okay, he's the bass player right here. This is the bass player. He's playing synthesized bass, and that's a bass guitar in his hand. So if I was your man, is what's playing right now. So he's playing bass. And then we have a keyboard player who's probably playing strings, piano, orchestra, synthesizer, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I thought he was just playing synthesizer. This man is the bassist. Crazy. I always wanted to play synthesizer on bass, but that's crazy. Good freaking job, bro. Good job. And so they're just gonna just continue to rock out. And I think, oh shit, is that mist? Is that fog, mist, whatever? See, again, I don't know if that's the venue or if that's Joe bringing that. I'm not sure. I'm gonna give it to the venue because a lot of venues do have, yeah, they have a lot of effects that you can use, especially if you have a team with you that you can move with you. Maybe it is Joe. Oh, and you can see back here. Here's the signer as well. I think also as well, I've never worked with a signer as far as being on stage. I wonder when this show got booked, is she local or does she work directly with the band? Maybe she works with just the venue, and when they got the set list, she had to study the music and then be ready to perform with Joe live on stage. That's crazy. I don't know how that works. That is crazy. But yeah, now we're back in the blue, and this is kind of what I meant with the blue. See how much cooler the band looks with the blue, and it looks like there's still like a second white light that's coming down, that's shining. That's really awesome. And then we have Joe and a different light coming from the front of the stage, which is a spotlight. That's where the spotlight comes from. You've seen that from like Apollo and things like that. That helps the front of the view look really, really nice because you can see the difference. The guitarist back here, he's in the shadows, but right around here where the spotlight is, it's bright and clear. And then over here where the keyboardist is, it's blue and a little bit darker. So it's very important, especially if you don't have a spotlight. A lot of venues don't, but if they don't have a spotlight, there'd just be like an overhead light, especially like smaller rock venues and things like that, theaters and stuff like that. It'd just be like a spot, not a spotlight, but just a floodlight just sitting at the top. Okay, I thought he was giving a hand signal right there. I was actually going to point that out, but it looks like they're just rocking out. So let's continue. It looks like they changed color soon. This is a good showcase of how lighting works for a musical performance as well. I wish I could break down a lot more of the technicalities. So if you're a light technician out there, please help me out in the comments. This is actually pretty interesting. So there's a lot of theory going on here, a lot of contrast, a lot of, primary colors. This is really cool. But I kind of want to focus on like how they're now cohesive. This is 16 minutes into the performance. Now you remember when Joe first came out, there was a lot of energy. There's still a lot of energy because this is kind of singing for a lot of people takes a lot of energy. It takes a whole lot of energy. So not only is he having to memorize the lyrics, he has to memorize the notes, he has to memorize the beats, maybe the changes they've had to make, and then also keep himself not bored. Like he has to entertain himself. Like sometimes it gets boring singing the same song over and over and over again, especially if you wrote it. But then he also has to make it entertaining for you guys. And so he's been doing this for probably going on, since the Stutter remix. So about 15 minutes straight, which is banger. So whenever you see a drummer back here rocking out for 15 minutes straight and you feel like he's working hard, trust and believe each and every other person on stage is doing it just as well. Because there's a bit of mental capacity that it's hard to really understand if you haven't been in this position as far as performing at a certain level. Okay, so you will meet, this is a great point to make. You will meet people who sing, you will meet people who play the keys, you will meet drummers, you will meet bass players, and you will meet pianists. None of them can compare to Joe's band. That's the facts. That's just the facts. It is what it is. Okay. And so the reason why I'm saying that is because there's going to come to a point to where you're going to want to compete. You're going to want to stand alongside the greats, or say you are of the greats. And the proof will be in the pudding, meaning, can you go, this is only 15 minutes of an hour set. Can you go 15 minutes straight of just bangers? And when I say that, I don't want you to think like, oh, I played at church once and we played for 2 hours straight. No. I mean, like the movie Whiplash. Like, these guys aren't missing notes. They're not confused on what part's coming up next. There's no miscommunication. You can see the drummer right here communicating with the piano player right here, like in real time. Joe's not sending any signals. Everybody already knows what's going on, and they're literally like a tank, just moving in unison, okay? And that's what I mean by you don't compare. Like there's a bit of chemistry that had to be kind of cultivated over time. These men probably worked together for a little bit, or if they haven't worked together for a little bit, they've worked on their skill set to be able to be cohesive. Okay, so when we talking about levels, this is what we mean. We mean accuracy in terms of the performance. Are you hitting all your notes correctly for 60 minutes straight? And are you giving the crowd a bomb performance for 60 minutes straight? Like, are you really putting the work in to make sure that happens? Or are you trying to? And see, that's the difference. That's the difference. So let's keep going. So these guys are working, they're rocking out, and it looks like they're about to get ready to move into faded pictures. Ooh, what is faded pictures, y'all? Look at Joe killing it. So right here is the intro to faded pictures, and then yeah, there we go. Ooh, look at the color change. Okay, I like this color change because of how they did it. Yeah, they did it with the song, and then I also like the color change because of the choice. So they literally went straight color theory on us. Red and blue. Boom. And so again, it's not so much that they're changing colors, it's how they're changing colors. Like they're not just flashing lights at you like an EDM concert. It's kind of like a paintbrush just moving across, you know, and you feel like the canvas. That's how it's supposed to kind of emanate. Like I'm using words like that for a reason. Like that's how you're supposed to kind of describe anything you do on stage. Like even how Joe stopped for a second to dance right here. Type 2 or 3 words in the comments of how you would describe that stance. And that's kind of what you want to think about. Not in real time, but just when we're watching this video, that's what you want to think about. Like the drummer's back here going crazy. Joe is chilling, but the song is still fire. Everything is still working. And I think when you're not in the audience, if you're on stage, they probably just feel like, you know, a cashier behind a register. Like it's just like, I just know the other side of your world, right? But when you're in the audience, this feels like magic. Like y'all really probably haven't needed to think about why this all works together. You haven't probably needed to think about why this amphitheater is a semicircle, why these speakers are down here, why there's speakers behind the drummer or the bass player right here. Like I don't think you needed to think about that. So breaking it down should kind of like help you understand the work that goes into what these people are doing. And it also should shine a light on the value that the people who are attending these concerts see in these people, right? And so a lot of times you'll see concerts where they just show, you know, clips of just girls screaming at the top of their heads off of some guy singing, right? But there's a reason. Like it's not fake. Like I used to think it was fake. I used to think it was weird that people go crazy until I got like a hint of it where like people were kind of treating me different because I just walked off a stage and it's like, oh, this is the culture. That's what it is. And this is a great example of how you can really set it up for yourself, how you can make it look comfortable. Because remember, just like how we looked at the Boldy James and Alchemist show, these guys are comfortable. Like they're not, you know, they don't look like they're on stage trying to figure things out. Like everybody's in their position doing what they need to do. And it seems like after the show, it's all over. We just, you know, clean up and we rejoice and hang out with the fans and do what we need to do. Look, even the piano player's chilling. So let's continue and keep going. I don't think there's much other changes that are coming ahead other than like, you know, lighting and maybe really, really good performances. So do make sure you go check out this video and let me know what you think about how it sounds. But yeah, this is 30 minutes in the set. This is 30 minutes in. This is only 30 minutes. So I guess another point we can make with the fact that there's only being 30 minutes in is that you can really consider how well of a writer you need to be. Like this isn't just 16 bars, 2.5 minutes, 2 hooks. Like this is like, nah, like these are truly like songs like in the sense of it. Like I haven't even heard a note. We're playing it in silence and I can tell that these songs have intros, bridges. They're probably communicating changes that they added to the music and things like that. Joe, he's emceeing the hell out of this performance. Like he's killing this shit right now. Oh shit, I didn't even notice the other guitar player's on the mic. He's on the mic as well. Yeah, This is insane. And then the key player, both keyboard, everybody's got a mic. So Joe probably makes everybody sing. I wouldn't be surprised if the drummer got a mic. I'm just late at seeing this, but yeah, it looks like Joe, you got to sing if you're going to be a part of Joe's band, which is tight because then that means they kind of understand each other a little better. If your keyboard player can sing a part or to your drummer and your drummer can sing the part back, they can communicate way better than two musicians that can't sing. I promise you. Singing is its own language. And then if all these people can read music, again, untouchable. You can't do nothing with this. Give them a scale, a beat, and a microphone, and it's over. But I think we pretty much kind of broke this performance down as far as we could really, really go. This is probably just gonna, at 30 minutes in, I think at this point they just kind of ride the train ride home. Yeah, they're just rocking out the set list. There's not much more work we can really break down other than, you know, we could probably get into the music and how accurate it is, whether or not you like a beat or things like that. But that's all really for the fans. That's really for the people who are down here like, oh, I like this groove, or I didn't like this song as much, or this makes me think of my mom, or this makes me think of my girl and stuff like that's for the fans. But we're really here to break down like all the crazy stuff that makes this go together. This was actually a pretty dope performance. Again, I'm reacting to this in real time. I've never seen this. I've actually never attended a Joe show. I would love to attend it because anytime I've seen a clip, they were fire. Like every time. But I think that's all we have today. And this was, again, Joe. I want to find a good spot to stop this on. Let's see here. He was front of stage right here. There we go. And this is Joe from Stage and Prospect, Brooklyn, New York City from 2023. Make sure you go check it out and let me know what you think, because this is a series I'm going to continue to do where I just break down iconic concerts, interesting concerts, or just cool things that I notice about live performances from the perspective of a musician for the musician. So let me know what you think, guys. And I will see you very, very soon. But I'm out, y'all. Peace.